All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into Amazon's latest quarterly results, and we're going to look at them through the eyes of their chief financial officer. So let's get right to it. So right out of the gate, that top line number is just wow, a massive $180.2 billion in revenue. That's a solid 12% jump from this time last year. It really shows you that Amazon's growth engine, yeah, it's still firing on all cylinders. But, revenue is only part of the story. It's the headline. The real interesting stuff, the story the CFO really wants us to understand, well, that's buried a little deeper, down in the profit numbers. Okay, so let's dig into that and really decode what's going on with their profit. It's super important to separate how the actual business is doing from a couple of, let's call them one-off events that happened this quarter. So if you just look at the report, you'll see an operating income of $17.4 billion. And hey, that's a great number, no doubt. But the CFO was really clear about this. If you pull out a couple of unusual charges, their real underlying profit from just running the business was way higher. We're talking $21.7 billion. So what were those charges, right? Okay, here's the breakdown. First up, a $2.5 billion legal settlement with the FTC. Ouch. Then, another $1.8 billion for severance costs tied to those recent role eliminations. You add those together, and that's $4.3 billion that, kind of hid just how strong the company's day-to-day operations really were this quarter. And the plot thickens when we get to net income, the final number, an absolutely huge $21.2 billion for the quarter. But, just like before, you gotta look under the hood to see what's really going on. So here's the thing. A giant slice of that profit had nothing to do with selling products or AWS services. Turns out there was a pre-tax gain of $9.5 billion. And where did that come from? Well, it's all from Amazon's investment in that super hot AI company, Anthropic. So yeah, it's a massive gain on paper, but it's really important to see it for what it is, an investment gain, not operating profit. All right, so now that we've kind of cleared the air on the profit numbers, let's move on. Let's take a look inside the growth engines and see which parts of Amazon's huge empire are really performing. And this chart, this tells the story perfectly. You can see the retail business, both here in North America and overseas, is growing at a really healthy clip. But then look at AWS, Amazon Web Services. It's up over 20%. That is a huge reacceleration, and it tells us that the cloud business is really starting to pick up steam again. Big time. And to give you a sense of just how big that is, the CFO dropped this little nugget on us. AWS is now running at a pace that would make it a $132 billion a year business, all by itself. That's not a side hustle. That's a behemoth. The scale is just mind-boggling. Now, jumping back to retail for just a second, the CFO pointed out something else that's really important. It's not just about what Amazon itself is selling. It's about who is selling on their platform. We're talking about third-party sellers, everyone from small businesses to big brands. And get this, they now make up 62% of all units sold. That is huge. They're a massive part of the ecosystem. Okay, finally, a company like Amazon is always looking ahead. So where are they putting their money for the future? Let's take a look at where they're placing these huge bets for growth, according to the CFO. And the number here is almost hard to wrap your head around. For the full year, they're planning to spend $125 billion on capital expenditures. We're talking about the big stuff, buildings, servers, all the physical hardware that makes the magic happen. So where is all that cash going? Well, the CFO laid it out pretty clearly. A massive chunk is going straight into building out AWS to handle the absolutely insane demand for AI. The rest, that's going into their fulfillment and transportation network, making it faster, more efficient. And they're also investing in their own custom tech, like designing their own computer chips. So this all leads to a really big question, right? When you pour these billions and billions into AI and infrastructure, what does that actually get you? What new things will Amazon be able to do, and how is it going to change the company we all use every day? It's a fascinating thing to think about because they're literally building that future right now, one quarter at a time.